Okay, so in this video, I will show you how to mince a clove of garlic. So this is 1 clove of garlic from a bulb. So what you want to do is pick up your knife and cut off the end that's closest to the root. You can peel it away, and then what you'll do is you'll take your knife and place it horizontally on top of the clove, and then press lightly, but with some pressure with your palm, so that it's easy to peel away the skin. Just like so. Then what you're going to do is slice the ends. You can make rounds of garlic like so. Then you'll want to slice it again in the opposite direction so that you make slices, well, more slices, and turn the garlic into strips. After that, you can turn it again the other way and continue to chop roughly through the garlic. Now for minced garlic, essentially it's a very, very small dice. This is largely diced pieces, but as you continue running your knife through the pile of garlic that you've just chopped, the pieces will get smaller and smaller, and then you'll make your minced garlic. Garlic is so simple, and it's a relatively inexpensive ingredient from the grocery store, and it adds so much flavor, and I love to use it in all of my cooking, from eggs to sauces to any flavors to meat, in vegetable dishes. It's just a great addition to any recipe. Just keep chopping until the pieces get smaller and smaller and smaller. And here you have your minced garlic. All right, so in this video, I will be showing you how to cut an onion. So you can cut an onion in several different ways, but this recipe calls for diced onion. So what we're gonna do first, you can cut off the bottom, which is the root side. I've already peeled the skin off. Quickly remove, and then I like to slice this other end as well. So now that we've got the ends off, then what you can do is slice it in half. And it depends how much onion you need for your recipe, but generally you might need half to a full onion. It depends how much onion you like as well. So from here, you'll lay it face down like so, and then you're gonna slice horizontally across, keeping your fingers on top and using a slight sawing motion with the knife. So I like to do 2 to 3 cuts, depending on the size of the onion, horizontally across it like so. I'll do one more, maybe just one more at the top here. I like to pinch and hold my fingers at the top to keep it secure as well, so that my fingers aren't in the way. Then what you'll do, you'll take your knife like so, and then make slices about 1/2 centimeter in width on top. And then turn your onion, and you can chop from the top down. Make sure to keep my fingers curled and away from the knife so that I don't slip my finger in there and get a cut. And here you have your diced onion. For this top part, I just give it a rough chop. For any remaining pieces that didn't result in a dice, I can easily dice it on my own. So there you have a diced onion. Okay, so for this step, we will prepare a bell pepper for the recipe. So first what you'll do is cut out the top. with a regular paring knife. I like to use a smaller knife because it has more control. So the top pops out and then you can slice it in half. Now I already have a pepper that's cut in half here, and I remove the seeds with my hands and all of the white that's on the veins of the pepper here as well. And then I turn it upside down and tap the back a few times to get rid of as many seeds I can. Then what you'll do is run your knife vertically down the pepper and make slices. It doesn't all have to be perfect or uniform in size because cooking is never perfect. And then what you'll do, take a few slices at a time and just make a rough dice. That's how you dice a pepper.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a one-skillet Spanish chicken and rice dish. But before we get into the recipe, I'll share a little bit about myself. So I've been cooking for many years since I was a young girl in my mom's and my grandma's kitchens. And for the past 7 years, I have culinary experience working in various restaurants across the city. Cooking and food is one of my passions, and I love sharing my passions with other people. So let's jump right into the recipe. So as I mentioned before, we'll be making a one-skillet Spanish rice and chicken from one of my favorite cookbooks. This recipe has about a moderate difficulty level because it does require some preparation, but you can make it in one skillet, so it's easy to cook together. So, jumping right into the recipe. For the first step, it says in a large mixing bowl, we'll add chicken, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper. So here I already have my chicken prepared, and they're sliced into about pieces that are 1 inch by 1 inch. Now I'll add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper to season the meat. Just give it a toss with my spoon here, so that it's all nice and combined. Perfect. So the chicken is nice and seasoned. And now moving on to step 2. Heat a large skillet over medium heat and add oil. So I'll turn on my skillet to medium heat and we're going to add the oil. So in my bowl I have coconut oil, and so we'll put that right into the pan. Now, once the oil is hot, then we'll add the chicken and we'll cook it for about 4 to 5 minutes. All right, now it's all melted. Chicken is going in. All right, so now that our chicken is getting nice and crispy, it's looking done. So you can set it aside onto a plate. So I'll just remove it from the heat, and I have a plate ready here for me. So when the chicken is chopped into smaller pieces, it doesn't take too long to cook. So keep an eye on it, keep mixing it, and it'll turn out nice. Alright, putting the pan back onto the heat. Now moving on to the next step, we're going to add in our onions and saute them for a couple minutes here. So at this point now, our pan has all of that delicious flavor from the chicken. And it's going to be incorporated into the onions since we're cooking it all together in the same pan. This is a tip on how to keep your food nice and flavorful. So you can cook in the same pan, and then the flavor will cross from the last thing you cook, for example, our chicken, into the next thing you cook, which is our onions. So what we're looking for here is the onions to turn a little bit golden brown. So they'll cook for about 2 minutes here. Just keep your eye on the pan until they turn golden brownish color. I love using onions in any recipe because my mom taught me that onions and garlic are the base to any good recipe. So if you want to add flavor to sauces, soups, or chicken, I always start with some onions in the pan, and I like to add garlic as well. Just two essential flavors that I love to use. Okay, so after a couple minutes of sauteing, you can tell they're starting to turn a little bit golden brown now. So we can start adding our next ingredients. So it's going to be garlic, red pepper, tomato paste, tomato sauce, rice, broth, paprika, chili powder, cumin, and the remaining salt and pepper. So let's add it all into the pan. First one we have is our minced garlic. Then red peppers. Then our tomato paste. The tomato sauce. The rice. Chicken broth. And our beautiful spices. So let's just combine everything together and mix it all in the pan. So you just want to give it a good stir so that everything is incorporated together. And you have no chunks of tomato paste still left and no spices all bunched up together. You want to make sure it's well mixed so the flavors come together really nicely. Now the rice together with the chicken broth and all of our spices, the rice, since it's uncooked, is going to absorb all of the flavor that we just created in this nice pan here. All right, that looks well mixed. So into our next step, it says that we need to bring it to a boil and then reduce the heat to low, cover, and simmer for 20 minutes. So we're gonna increase the heat a little bit here. We're gonna bring it to a boil, so you're gonna look out for the bubbles that form in the pan. Now it's boiling a little bit in the center, but I wanna make sure that
most of the pan has bubbles, so you know that it's at a nice boiling point. Let's give it another mix. There we go. So that's coming to a nice boil now. Okay, so we are ready to reduce the heat down to simmer. So your oven may be different than mine, but you want to turn it down to 1 or 2, nice and low. And I've got a lid for my pan. So I've turned the heat down. It's still bubbling, but that's okay. We're gonna add the cover right on top, and we're gonna set a timer and leave this to cook and do its thing for 20 minutes. Okay, so now it's been 20 minutes and the rice mixture has been simmering. So what we're gonna do now is add the chicken back into the rice mixture. And we're gonna let this cook for about 2 minutes here so that the chicken can absorb all of the delicious flavors that we created in the pan here. So give it a good mix and allow all the flavors to incorporate with each other. Now I'll put the lid back on and we'll let it simmer for another couple minutes here and let all the flavors come together. All right, so the chicken has been simmering for about 2 minutes in here. So now we're ready for the next step, which is to add the finishing touches. Now this is cilantro and olives, but if you don't have a taste for either of these, you can omit them. That's totally fine. Part of cooking is about adding ingredients and flavors that you like. So make sure that you make something delicious and add the flavors that you like. So I'll give it a stir. That is looking beautiful. I'll shut off the heat. And the very last step is to add a squeeze of lemon. 1 or 2 lemon wedges will do. You just want to add a little bit of acidity, a little bit of brightness to the dish. Just give it one quick mix. And this is ready to serve. I've got my plate on the side here. This here is your one skillet Spanish rice and chicken.